You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 12th, 2024 meeting of the Long Beach Building Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Okay, welcome. This is the Long Beach Building Commission regularly scheduled meeting for April 12th, 2024. We'll call the meeting to order at 1 p.m. Roll call. Larry Wall here, Bob LeMay.
Here.
Anita Remages.
Here.
Ken Klausner. Joy Schmidt.
Here.
Pete Bybels.
Here.
Joe Jagman.
Here.
Carter Vravis.
Here.
Honors here. Chris is here. First item of business is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting of March 22nd. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
The only one where is, I abstained because I wasn't.
Okay. Next up is the commissioner's report. We, last month, says December, it's March, sorry. We had 20 permits with construction costs of $513,987, which generated fees of $6,550. We received 155 calls on permits or information requests. That's pretty much it. Any questions on the commissioner's report? Being none, we'll move on to old business. MS4 Honor finished our BMP, or Best Management Practices manual that we had gotten from Elkhart County. That will be published to the website, which counts as public education for us, which is a requirement under our annual permit, or our permit, and as well as annual report. We have to do two public outreach, a minimum of two public outreach items a year. The annual MS4 report was filed timely. Was it like April 1st was a Monday? I think we filed it on Friday. So we were good. We got a report back from the state already that said that our report was approved and with no deficiencies. And the coastal resiliency groups, there's really not much happening with that. We have another board meeting coming up, but as everyone knows, we're out of that contention for grants. We'll see what happens next year. The building department software, since we're all back from vacations and whatnot, we're going to start that most likely next week.
Except the training or implementation.
Start training with Carter. We were talking about it, and Honor and Carter and I were talking about it at our pre-meeting that we do each time before this meeting. And we think that it's going to go pretty quickly. So we'll be able to have implementation, I would hope, in the next 6 weeks. Joe?
Yeah, if it's not too much, if it is, I can appreciate it. Going back to 7, it says the annual and the sole report, time and following, which is fantastic. The question again, if it's easy to do or not, is if you mention the topics, like a couple of topics, what were the topics that were mentioned in that file? Or is that
In topics in what, Joe?
in the file? If you're saying you submitted a report, I'm just, and I don't know, so like you said, I haven't thought of them as store at all. Well, because in general, the report, we're talking about a couple topics, or am I wrong? You're not conceiving it, or?
No, I mean, you're not wrong. It's the report, it used to be the report had to be basically hand done. And we attended several workshops with the state MS4 director in the last 6 months. And the state finally got a report that is a PDF fill in the blank report. So I'll send everybody a copy of that. That's my mistake for not sending it out. I think it went to the, I'm not sure, Chris might know. I think it may have gone to the town council, but after today's meeting, I'll send everybody a copy. It's basically a state of the town as far as MS4 regulations and requirements. What did we do? What do we have to improve on? Are we doing our inspections? Tom Dolph is a big part of it because Tom inspects and maintains the 7 town outfalls at all the stops. And we have to report that that's being done. We had an audit. I don't know if you guys remember, we had an audit last year under our the MS4 permit. The town has a permit, and that permit is good for 5 years. And every year, there's an annual report that has to be submitted. And Joyce, the operator of, you signed it, didn't you? The report, the annual report. I think we sent it to you, yeah. So the highest elected official is what's called the operator, the MS4 operator. And so those reports are signed off by the highest elected officer, which is Joy, and then they're submitted. We had in our audit last year, our administrative then passed with no considerations or no ticks. We had 2 things in Tom's end of it. One was the salt storage shed needed some repair, and the second item was a spill kit was not labeled large enough. So those things were, Tom fixed the salt shed. I don't know if the town council, and it's really not us, but I guess it is us because of the MS4 situation. We're going to have to do something about our salt shed. It's antiquated and it doesn't meet current rules. I shouldn't say it doesn't meet current rules. They prefer to have something that is raised above grade, as well as doesn't have the opportunity, I shouldn't say raised above grade, doesn't have the opportunity to soak into the ground. So Mark, my brother John, Bruce Woodruff and I have met, and we're trying to figure out what we can do with that within the constraints of the town's budgets. Okay.
It's Larry, I just wanted to make sure you knew, we tabled the MS4 ordinance, the council, while you're reviewing it. You'll probably, when's your next council meeting? May, or what day? May.
April? It'll be done by April. And we put in the report that the annual report that was approved, we stated in there that the ordinance was complete, which it is. But that it would be approved at a later date.
Okay.
And the only thing, the ordinance is good, but what Chris and I were talking about, what Chris asked me to do was to go and look at our existing, I think it's 154 something, and make sure, we'd like to be able to just pull the 154, what we have in its entirety, and replace it with the new one. We just want to make sure that we're not leaving something, taking something out that we shouldn't. Sure. Building departments, Mount Clair Way, it doesn't have an address yet. This is the same as last month. I did talk to the builder about the conditions. And the concern that we had as a group was, number one, the parking on over the septic, the dispersal field had to be noted on the deed, as well as we wanted to make sure that they understood, because of the grade of the lot, that they had to conform to the steep slope ordinance, as well as no structures would be allowed in the 10-foot setback. And Gary Green, who was the builder, and I had some lengthy conversations about what's the best way to approach it. And right now, he's going to get a topo survey and have it laid out. And then we're gonna meet on site to decide whether or not they're gonna be able to put the driveway in. And if not, the next thing would be they would have to go to the BZA to see if they could put that in. It would be much easier rather than to do it now, rather than build the house and then have to come back and try to get it, a variance after the fact. Any questions on Mount Clair? Number 11, 2313 Oakenwall. The owners decided to withdraw the permit. I think they're gonna put the house up for the market. I'm not positive about that, but so I sent an email to everybody. I mentioned that 2 or 3 weeks ago. 2104 Lakeshore Drive. That was a remove and replace decking. Last month, we had a question on coverage. They sent the coverage, which I sent an email out to everybody. They reduced their coverage to fit the 35%, and that was basically the lower deck. They were trying to enlarge it, so they now meet all of our requirements. Any questions on that one or discussion? Entertain a motion to approve. So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Good. 1700 Lakeshore Drive. I'll have to recuse myself again from voting. The discussion we had, nothing's changed since the last meeting, except that we will, the proposal now calls for not taking the 2 drain pipes out to what's commonly referred to as daylight, meaning they would go through the dune and out to an open area that is still behind the natural urban water. So the proposal now is to put 2 sump pits, basically dry wells down under the dune, so that the 2 drain pipes would terminate into those dry wells.
And do we have a topo map, or do we need one to confirm that they're replacing the existing grade?
Yes, I can put that up here for you.
Larry, a swamp that indicates the mechanized means of pumping water.
No, it's just the pit itself for the dry well. It's not there's no power in the,
Either, like you said, drywall or trench rate. So I just want to point that out so they know this, construction enforcement.
And I guess, and I don't care what it looks like now, I just need to be able to,
Right.
when it's done, that it's back to that.
this, I'll zoom this up. You can see it on the screen.
Yeah.
This is the topo of the area. As we said before, each one of these lines represents a foot. Each one of these dashed lines. So this area where it's 595, 594, 593 is all where the work will be done. And those grades will be, or that area will be reset to the grade that it was.
So you recuse.
Yes.
Entertain a motion to approve?
Well, you're making, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, back.
Well, okay, I think slightly this is
Oh, I'm
not.
sorry, I didn't ask
So
for
you
you.
can really make a decision. Can I ask a question? Larry?
Sure.
I think so. I see the rectangle there. Is that maybe ahead of time, but is that the new septic, the new resident?
Actually, there's two scenarios with the dry well. Let me pull up the other one too.
Can I say something there?
Yeah, it's just
Because,
quiet because I'm doing this.
my concern, and, hopefully we all agree, that if you can put in the presby, where you're gonna put it above board, below board, in between board, it's all structured, and that definitely has to be on the, Lake Shore Drive side of 106.
This is the one that they're considering. There's two considerations for septic. There's no permit request for the house or the septic at this point in time. And you weren't here last time, Jill, so I'll just kind of briefly go through what the situation here is. This is right here. Where my arrow was moving, the septic could either be there or here. Both of those, the 106 line, the 106 line is here. And what the goal is to get that septic system approved. The reason they're doing the drainage, which is these dashed lines, is because this hashed area here is a seawall, and their soil borings, those soil borings show soil borings showed high water table on soil boring number 8 right here, and then 5 feet away, 10 feet away, in soil boring number 5 was a 56-inch deep for water table. And soil boring number 8, the water table is 32 inches.
It's gonna be beyond.
So as everybody knows, water seeks its own level. The reason that the water is the soil boring had a higher water table is because this seawall is holding water. This dune has been like this. This didn't get affected in 2000 or 2019. The water came up, you could see, hold on, let's see if I can move this. The water came up, but never exposed the seawalls. The water came up in this area. So what the proposed work is to excavate in this area where the dotted line is, put drainage in, and then these two lines would come out on each side where it says outlet and points to it. And there was a concern, I think, Bob, you had asked that you did not want to see or allow outlets into what's called, the term is daylight, meaning that they would be on the open side of that higher dune area there. So we went back to the drawing board and we're gonna put dry wells in at the end here underneath the sand, so that the water from behind this property or behind the seawall will drain into the driveways and then disperse. The town on lots, I'm not sure what Safar's lots are. I know that it's at least 100 and 102. The town had a line, the reason for the stop, that everybody refers to as the stop 17 and 17, 18 drainage project, was because there's so much water that comes through, particularly on Safar's lots, lot number 100 and lot number 102. This lot, this is the old Gallagher home. This lot was affected by the same thing. Some of that may be alleviated, but you still have surface water. So this project is to reduce the hydraulic pressure on the seawall and not hold the water behind it. Yeah, go ahead.
If you're done with that, I have one more question about this project. Are you done with the water? I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
How does the easement affect this whole project?
I don't know, Jim.
How does the what? Easement. There's an easement that goes right through the property. You can see.
There's a dashed line right here. See this, these two dashed lines? These two dashed lines is an easement for, I don't know how many property owners. I think 3 or 4, might be 5 property owners that live inside of stop 16 and 17. And they have access through to the beach through these 2 lots here. I know that there's some discussion the owner is having, it's a civil matter of whether they're going to keep it right here or whether they move it, I should say, or move it to one side.
Because that was the question. If it stays in the middle, they probably want to build a larger house. And I would think that house would be over that easement. Well,
Yeah, I'm not really involved in that.
okay. I just wanted to know where's the easement that goes through it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. 2303 Hazelton. That's a landscaping, hardscaping situation. At the last meeting, it was brought up and there are some, is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know, I'm supposed to come up here.
Well, we're still in the same situation.
Okay.
Can you turn the microphone on to see, because I put you there.
Thank you.
With a whole bit larger.
Hold it down a little bit more, hold it red.
Yeah, until the red light comes on. There you go. Okay, so what was submitted, maybe I can bring it up on here. Sure.
Larry, I had in my notes that we approved this last meeting. Did we not do that?
Pardon me?
I have in my notes that we approved this last
Okay.
meeting. Did we not do that?
We had that. We talked
Yeah,
about
I
this.
sent a new one, saying disregard the old ones, and that was the change.
I'm just going off my own notes, not your
Did
minutes.
you have notes that it was approved?
Yeah,
Okay, I did not have, my notes with me yesterday. I found them today. So we were concerned, Honor and Carter and myself, when we meet before the meetings, were concerned that there was a question about it. But if you have in your notes, Joy, that we approved it, then I think we'll just follow through with that, okay?
Larry, my own, Larry, the reason I bring it up, it's permit number 24-3-335. When I got the approval, we created a greening and we created a permit that approved this project.
Okay, we're all set. You're all set.
Thank you.
Wasting the day, sorry.
We just, I did ask Joy at the council meeting when she mentioned it, because I recalled that we had talked about a better site plan.
Right.
Rather than, I think you hand drew it, Christine, maybe, but that Joy's like, no, her note showed it was approved, so I
Okay,
was confused.
we'll go with the approval since the permit's made and whatever, this, what was handed in meant or was, within our ordinances, the calculations that were made. Okay, Ross.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Feel about you.
All that.
Next up is 2804 Lindale. That came up, last meeting, and the discussion was that the permit did not, in the narrative of the permit, it did not have that there was an addition in the project, involved in the project. That has since been corrected, and Honor sent that out to everybody. 90% of the work on the project is actually in the house. There's a small entry addition going on, and they are well within coverage. If anybody wants to see it, let me know and I'll bring it up. Does everybody recall it? Yeah,
The only comment I have, which I haven't, if we follow up on or not, on the permit, it says electrician is to pull permit prior to service. Do we have any connection to that?
Yeah, it was.
You saw it on the permit and they did,
Yeah, I told Larry about it.
and the electrician did pull the permit?
Everything he did, that
Okay.
Larry asked for.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. That was sent out,
you're right. It's right. It's up on the screen in the highlighted areas. New windows in addition, and then it says electrician is to pull permit prior to starting. So that was all corrected. Okay. Entertain motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I'm sorry.
Pete, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign.
I'm for
Okay. You gotta warn us when you're gonna shock us, Joe. Okay, 2319, what are you here for? Pardon me? Okay, in,
Behalf of Shaw, 2906, Ocean Road. New business.
Twenty-nine sixty-four?
Oh, yeah, 61.
Yeah.
Sorry.
oh, Kristen Shu?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was there is a permit to remove and replace, I can bring it up here. A patio, when the permit was originally submitted, it didn't have a narrative of what was going to be done. So we asked that the permit be updated, which was done. And I could pull it up just in case you guys. So they're basically just removing an existing patio and installing a wood deck in its place, and then the roof over it. It looks like you're putting a rubber roof on it or something.
Put a rubber roof under the back. There's living space below and
Under the deck, there's living space. So but there's no change in footprint.
No,
It's the,
no.
okay. So, it's strictly remove and replace.
I move to approve.
Can I ask a question with so we're saying we're not creating any new living space. The living space is there now. Okay, thank you.
Is there a second?
Second. Ken, second.
All those in favor? Opposed, same sign. Okay, you're all set?
Cool. Thank you.
All right.
You guys enjoyed it.
You too.
Okay, stay.
Thank you, Brian.
What, did I not put that on there?
Yes.
The 30,007. Am I missing something?
Isn't that 37?
So 3006 did I not put it on here? How do we do that, Chris? Do I just have to?
So moved.
Motion to amend the agenda to include 3006. Motion by Bob. Right, yes.
3006 what?
Long border. Motion by Bob Lemay. Is there a second?
Sorry.
All those in favor? Opposed, same side. Okay, so this is the residence that is on the corner of Loma Portal and Ridge Road. It went to the BZA, encroachments into the setback. Yeah, the BCA approved.
After placement of the BZA, or the HVAC.
Yeah, in placement of the HVAC on Loma Portal, which is in the front yard of the property. The only thing one of the biggest things that I have an issue with is and I'll pull the drawings up here. What's it says?
We just got all this stuff from the BZA yesterday.
Well, yeah, but part of that delay from the BZA was not the fault of the owner of the property. That was more of a,
Plus, it has nothing to do with the application.
Yeah.
Importantly, it was whether they got approved by the BZA. They had findings and decisions, so they were just seeking signatures. So whether that did or didn't happen was more about whether they timely filed their application and the materials. So that those proposed findings and decisions were sent and forwarded to everybody long ago. That they were just completed in terms of signature, but that is nothing new. It was more so whether they met the deadline of Friday, the previous Friday, right, to be on this agenda.
To my understanding, that the location of the generator, HVAC equipment was approved.
It was.
Only the HVAC equipment was approved. The generator is not listed.
Yeah.
To be in that spot.
Email track.
Yes, there was.
and I think it was represented to the BZA, at least according to my notes, in my capacity as the representative of the building commission at the BZA at the time, that the HVAC wasn't gonna be visible from the road. Is that still correct?
Can you speak up a little, Bob, so I can?
Yeah, it was represented at the BZA that the HVAC equipment wouldn't be visible from any of the roadways. And that's correct.
Do we have that in writing that we can see that?
Well, we could condition certainly.
Yeah, you could, it overall, to not get you bogged down on the issue, you can put that as a condition. It isn't written as part of the findings and decisions that it can't be seen, but they were allowed, the variance requested was to be able to place it on the lower quarter side. That was granted. If you want to confirm and have it in writing, Joe, then it just needs to be a condition of the building permit, and I'll take care of it.
Okay, I don't want to care. I just think we're eluding a procedure. You're saying it only has to be signed and whatever. I mean, we're back to the whole situation. When we get a permit, it should be complete.
It wasn't their fault.
What doesn't matter whose fault it is. Then it's our fault. Then it's our
You
fault.
haven't been involved in this situation though, and so in this particular instance, it was a little bit unique. I respectfully disagree with you.
Yeah, and the BZA has changed their procedure, okay? Because what we were doing was BZA was coming with two sets of findings and conditions, right? Decisions, for every meeting. So there was a positive and a negative. Well, our attorney was having to put two of them together. That's just silly. So what we thought is if it gets approved, let's have the attorney do it after we make our decision. Then it comes back just for signature. But the meeting approved basically what we have before us, findings and decisions. The problem is if we do it the old way, yeah, it gets done quicker, but it costs the town a lot more money.
But, okay, let me just understand, forget about signing or anything else, but we are saying that they won't be visible from the front. Is that, I'm trying to grasp that, what that variance said or didn't say.
Yeah, the variance, during the discussion with the BZA, it would represent the BZA that the HVAC equipment would not be visible in any of the roadways.
I think it states that in the findings.
What's that?
I think it states that in the findings.
Actually, I don't think it made it in there, I'm sure, but that was, and we can make that as our condition. Because I did look at those findings, and I actually looked for that, and it wasn't in there, but again, we can make that our condition.
Right, the permit, we can condition the permit on having them hidden. But on the drawing here that we got just last week, they have two AC units and a generator. The generator was not approved to be in the front yard. So you guys are gonna have to, that would have to be changed.
Was that because the generator necessitated a separate building?
No, it's, the question is the generator is in the front yard facing the street.
Well, the question I had was why wasn't it included? Was it not included because it wasn't applied for?
I couldn't.
So to clarify, at the BZA level, the BZA is always very careful, and in the findings and decisions, they always say, you're only given, the relief that's granted is the relief that has been asked for. The BZA does its best to try to suggest, particularly when plans haven't come before you first, to say, you're doing this at your own risk a little bit, because if something is missed. So to answer your question, what was granted was the HVAC system and then the setback encroachments. And there isn't anything else that was asked for in their BZA application. And yeah, the BZA does try to help, but they don't dictate it in this instance. They have both an attorney and a builder with them. So they certainly defer to what they asked for.
So in order, if they do want to put the generator in the same location as the HVAC.
They'd have to go back to the BZA.
Sure.
Right. The generator cannot be located in the front yard. They would have to go back to the BZA. So that's one thing that's an issue here. Another thing that's an issue is we don't have an accurate topo map. And I will show you what the concern is. Is everybody familiar with this lot? Okay, so, when you look at, where is it? Okay, here you go. So if you look, this flat part right here, hold on, let me zoom in. These flat sections, there are large clear areas with a cross through them. Does everybody see what I'm talking about? Though that is here, right here. Okay. That is Ridge Road. Yeah, I'll zoom right up here. These areas right here. If I knew how to change the color of my cursor, I would help you. But this is Ridge Road here. And this particular lot, this isn't, I don't know what this site plan or perspective view. I don't know, we don't know because we don't have a survey what these topo lines represent. I know just because of the lot. What I'm concerned about is this lot falls off very quickly. And when you go to the elevations of the project, I'll do a little explaining here too. So on the highest spot of the lot is up here. You can see Ridge Road along here. Actually, it doesn't go down. This is a private driveway up on top. So this lot, we don't have an accurate topo of the lot. So this lot is very high here, and then it probably falls down to Loma Fourth from Ridge Road. I can't even hazard a guess. I'm gonna say it falls 20 feet down to Loma Fourth. So what I'm concerned about here is this. This is the high point up here of the lot. Between this area where my cursor's moving and this area, it's not flat here. So the measurement for the height of the house, which is right here, bring it up. It says 32'7". See this to the ridge line here, where it says roof ridge up in the corner. It says 32'7" to grade here. I don't see how that can be possible with that lot. Joy, it sounds like you understand a lot. Do you know what I mean? So you have a high point up here. And you're gonna build a house, right? But the grade on this section that I'm gonna call the south side, it's actually southeast. This section, the grade is down here. So I don't know how you're gonna do this. That makes sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yes. So what I just started looking at this week as far as the topography of everything. Obviously, the house has to be level, but in order to get the house level, what's going to happen where the existing grade is, right here where this little wall is here, is that wall actually going to be starting down here where the grade is? I don't think the grade is at this point, and we can't tell because we don't have a topo of the area. So I don't know if do you have a topo
The total that's indicated on the site plan was what we received from the survey, so that would probably be the most.
Yeah, so, oh, I'm sorry. Go up to the microphone, hit that button so that it, see that red light? Just tell us your name and what you're here for.
Yes, my name is Michaela Breuer. I'm here on behalf of the Bernickes, as a representative of the builders, Mark Scott Holmes. And to answer your question, the topography on the site plan was based off of the survey we received to digitize. So that would probably be the most accurate version we could offer of that.
I guess the problem that I'm having personally, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, I don't see a topo. The only thing I see is this perspective drawing that shows discernible topo lines on it. But I know that this property, as you see here, this area is not flat. This area, I'm saying this for the benefit of everybody on the building commission. Topo lines normally on a smaller scale like this represent 1 foot of rise or fall. So by rights, you could count these. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then, you have a space here. This lot is not flat here. So then you come down over here. My concern is that it shows 32 feet from this ridge to this point on the foundation. I think that the property is much lower than that based on just going and looking. So I would like to see. Yes. Right, the distance between, let me go back to the. This is Ridge Road right in here. You could see it on the lower part of the drawing. So from this point on the lot to the bottom point, or low portal, is probably anywhere from 15 to 20 something. I don't see that represented on the site plan because we don't have a topo site plan. The site plan lists everything static, meaning like a 0 grade everywhere. So I think I would like to see, and I'm not speaking for anybody here, I'm just talking because I'm the person that usually presents the stuff. I would like to see a topo, two-dimensional topo of how are you going to maintain this soil all the way around here? Because this section here is a minimum of 8 feet below this section, below the northwest side of the house to the southeast side of the house over here. And my concern is that this actual ridge line is going to be up out of the ground 40 feet.
The tallest point of the building to the lowest point on the foundation, correct?
Right, that's been given to us.
And is that below 33 feet?
It is. No, it is, but I can't tell. I'm just saying because I know the lot, that this is not a true picture of what that lot is. And you can't tell from looking at drawings unless you have a topo.
We require sufficient.
So So
why don't we request the topo? Why,
that's what I'm suggesting. I'm just one person on.
can I suggest that we request the topo?
Pardon me?
Can I request or that we,
Yes, but I just wanted to go through all the points that I have about the project before, then everybody else could chime in. So those are my concerns. Number one, the generator cannot be on the in the front lot without a variance. Number two, my concern is without a topographic survey. I can't tell, I don't think this is possible, 32'7" from the grade to the top of the roof. I think the grade here is probably 5 to 8 feet lower than what this is. You know what I'm saying? You can't take it here. Maybe that would This is the top of Ridge Road here. This lot falls off like this down to the mobile board. Here's somebody standing down on the mobile board. Here's somebody standing up on the road. So you can't put a house flat here the way it's shown. They're telling us that from where this house comes on the ground here, and to the grade here is X number of feet. But they're telling us that from here to the same thing here is 32'7". I don't think that, I think there has to be either some artificially developed fill or this foundation wall is going to have to be 16 feet deep, high. Does that make sense?
Yes.
yes,
That's why I think we need to have a total of what the actual lot is with the house placed on it. So those are my two concerns. Anybody else have something to say?
could I add number 3?
Sure.
I'm looking at all the documents that I have, which I got from the builder, from the permit application and everything else. The only address that I see on this project is 3007. Where does 3006 come from?
Somebody was confused.
That's probably me. I probably said.
Okay, I just wanted clarity that it's 3007, so we know what we're.
Right, it's an established, lot. Thank you.
Larry, to your point, just thinking out loud here, is it possible they're trying to take the excavated material on the high side and push it out and level?
That's certainly possible, but there, with our steep slope ordinance, there has to be consideration to what happens to the neighbor. If they in fact want to fill this area, if they want to take the excavation, the spoil, and put it down here, so that this grade comes like this instead of like this, there's considerations for what happens to the neighbor. What happens to Ridge Road? Ridge Road is down here. Ridge Road follows the grade. So if you're gonna bring in 6, 8, 10 feet of fill here, you have to have provisions to protect the neighbor on the other side. And you have to have provisions to protect the road. And they're already at the 30-foot mark, which you can see on. So in order to put structures, if it's necessary to put structures to hold the house or to hold the road, the fill away from the road.
They have to maintain the grade that exists when it abuts neighbor's property or roads.
Right.
Yeah, they can't violate the total ordinance.
Right, so the first step is we require a total. We've made an explanation why we do it, we just need to know. And if there's any other documentation, we need that as well. But right now, there's not sufficient documentation to tell us. I mean, on my comment about Ridge Road being higher, I'm talking about the lakeside portion, the lake word, that whole, it's all along there. And then I didn't even know road coming down, well, this is called Ridge Road.
Right.
Ridge Road used to be just that top line, and the depiction on that drawing that you had, I know for a fact it was higher than what was depicted.
Right. So so we've got the generator can't be there. We need a topo survey. Anything else? Anybody else have any?
What we should have is basically what you drew here, measurements.
Right, and that's what this would be if they would put, if you guys would put the topo on it. Let me get to it.
Well, along with the topo, they have to show us how they're going to construct the building, how it fits into the topo.
Right, these are sections, but let me get to it. All right, so here, this is an elevation. So this is the Ridge Road size of the elevation. And what my concern is I don't think that at this point, there's no way you could do this without bringing fill and raising the existing grade to that point. And in doing that, what happens to Ridge Road and what happens to the new?
No, we don't.
And if you're going to maintain, or if you're going to raise the grade to make that, manufacture the grade, then you have to protect Ridge Road down here. If you're gonna raise this grade at the side of the house right here up to 8 feet of fill, you have to protect Ridge Road so that you're not bringing that fill down on the Ridge Road, as well as protect the neighbors over here. And, the concern then is going to be, let's not worry about the budget. So, does anybody else have anything else? No. So what you guys need to do is move the generator to the rear of the house.
Or do the variance.
Or get a variance on that. And then you need to give us a topo survey site plan. So an existing topo survey, and then what your proposed topography would be when the job is finished. Okay?
Well, but also we need to see how the building is constructed, so we can make sure that it's within 34 feet.
Right. So I guess I assume that. So
But
we need the elevations to show us what the topography is too. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks.
But it is 07 and it's.
I have no idea. It's a little bit of.
It's not very, it's, yeah, 3,000.
37.
There is the very lessons once.
Yeah.
It's very lessons.
We should have to get anywhere.
Speaker residence, we have 76.
Okay, 2319 Florida. Yeah,
Let's not forget that this is a corner property, so we have 2/3.
You're talking about 2319?
That's the one for 23. It's a corner property, we got 2/3. If it comes into play, I just want to make sure as we're looking at it, it's what it is. I just don't know what the DCA stuff, but we're pretty limited. But the front of the house facing the slope down Ridge Road, right?
That's the side. The front of the house facing. Side that faces.
No, I'm talking about who we just left.
oh, the front of the front lot, because it's at the Loma Portal of the rest. The front of the house is Loma Portal.
No.
The Ridge Road is, because it's a corner lot, has a 30-foot setback as well.
But if you look at the definition of front, it's where you go into the house. So front door, not
And I thought it was the address, is what determined it.
It's the front wall. The front wall faces where the road, and that has the second.
Well, then they would be able to put their generator on the side lot.
Well, perhaps, but they also had setback from the downslope to the road.
Well, they had 2 30-foot setbacks. That was the problem.
Yeah, very.
They got a variance from the BZA to allow big,
And those varying distances were laid out. Which is part of finance.
Never mind.
okay. Next up. Does everybody have a copy of these, or should I put it on? I suppose I should.
Which one?
23, 19.
2319 Florida coming up. That's true.
Are you saying because of this rock, you're saying it's the front of the house to go on? Is that what you're saying? Is that actually the front of the rock?
Yes.
Years ago?
Yes.
Sorry.
The Saturday.
There's a door. Okay, that's what you, so all I'm saying is there's also an issue with the guest entry rooms. So the site will.
So 2319, it has 2, as Joe said, it has 2 setbacks. It's not. Or as Pete said, I'm sorry. Or Joe, whoever said that.
No, I was kind of addressing.
Okay, so here's the site plan of this property. So there's a 30-foot setback. There's a 30-foot setback on Flormont. It looks like the 30-foot setback, if these are the actual lot lines, which they appear to be, that they're encroaching on the 30-foot setback on the Flormont side as well. At the Larchmont side, they're fine. There's a whole lot there that appears to be 70-some feet, 60-some feet.
But they were given variances for those encroachments, right?
They were given variances for this, this section right here, which is the new elevator.
Okay.
Hold on, let me zoom up.
I mean, the front house is all living in seven.
Pardon, John?
The front house, whatever it is.
Yes, it is.
So Larry, I think the thinking was that because it's in the setback that they weren't increasing in non-conformance with the encroachment.
Increasing volume, that's what they got the
Yes,
variance for,
so
to
that's
put the elevator
issue
shaft.
would be, that's why there wasn't an issue with them having to get a setback variance as well. It's only the volume.
So it's grandfather.
One, this came in. as I looked through this, one thing that concerned me was when you look, this sheet shows demolition notes. And when you look at the demolition notes, it says all the windows are gonna be taken out. Anything that's dashed here is being taken out. It says existing brick to remain, existing roof to remain, existing roof structure to remain. So those were all the same throughout this particular page. But when you get down to, this is the foundation drawing. The entire foundation is being replaced except for one corner here. And I would consider that to be the northeast corner of the existing house. Is not being replaced. All these dash lines represent the footing. The line that shows the little dots in it, that's new concrete or masonry foundations. And these squares all represent footings for columns for support. So I guess maybe it doesn't matter, but I don't know if it does or not because I haven't really had a long time to study these. And when you go to the sections on this, the building, so this is a building section. So what a building section, does everybody see this? Yeah. Building section. So what that is, that's section 1 on sheet A7. So I'll go up here and show you where that section is cut through the building. That section is cut through, see where it says 1 A7 down here, that she didn't put the indicator here. So that section is a cut through the building. And when I look at that section, everything in that section, in that cut through the building right here, this is new framing for the roof. This is new framing for the interior wall or interior floor. This is new framing for the second level. This appears to be, I can't tell. It says that the exterior walls are remaining. But when I read through, I don't know how you could do that. Maybe they've got some system to do that. When I look at these building sections, let's look at the section on A8. When I look at these sections, these are new floor joists. This is a new roof framing system. That's a floor truss. These are new floor joists in this area. So this section is section 1. Let's see where the is 1A8. So let's go up and look at that section where that is in the building. So section 1A8 is cut from here on the right side of the drawing to over here on the left side. So it's cut through the primary bedroom on the second floor. It's cut through.
Which one?
The sunroom. Well, I started at A8. That shows the section here. This is section A8, section 1 on sheet A8. That's actually A7. This is section 1. on sheet A8. This, see this is a new foundation. This is a new foundation. These are new floor joists. This is new ceiling or roof rafters here. So let's go back up and look at where that is on the floor plan. On the floor plan, that section cuts through here. See this, where it says 1A8 and 1A8 here? That's a slice through the building. So I don't know how you demolish the entire interior of a house and rebuild it and leave the exterior walls up. The reason I'm saying this is, this almost appears to be a demolition of the house on a new house being built.
I would say demolition of the interior,
Pardon me?
demolition of the interior. I can be, have your questions on demolition, it appears that the entire interior, and there should be, of the structure is being demolished and rebuilt. If we're not changing the outside of the structure, which is considered the skin, they're remodeling the interior.
But then Larry is saying you can't remodel the interior without, they show the walls being modified, is that the correct word? I don't know what to say, that you're pointing out.
Rebuilding the interior of the house, maintaining the skin.
Yeah, we had one of these several years ago, and it was at stop 18. And it was purported that it was a renovation to an existing residence.
Yeah.
And basically what they did, they built a new house and used none of the existing. I haven't talked to the builder about this, and I haven't talked to the architect who I know and I do work with. But when I look at these drawings, every structural element, with the exception of one area here with this garage, is being removed. And that's next to impossible to be able to do that. You can't take the entire structure. You couldn't take the entire structure of this build, well, you can't here, but you couldn't take the entire structure of your own house and completely take it out, and the outside walls would still stand, including the roof. And that's what it appears to me that they're doing.
The question there is how they are going to support the floor joist in that.
They're replacing the floor joists.
Right, but the new ones, are they going to try and rest them on the existing studs? And they don't.
They're not leaving these. That's what I'm getting at. There's no floor systems left except for one spot. And there's no walls left on the interior, except for that same southwest corner. So I don't know that I would consider that this is a renovation. I really, I would like to talk to the architect and find out exactly what they're doing here.
What's the value of the
building.
$1,600,000.
$1,160,000.
Commitment for the reconstruction.
Findings and decisions suggest that they're gonna increase an existing encroachment by 32.57 square feet as well as volume. Usually, when you're gonna increase an encroachment, isn't that in feet, not square feet? Plus, it's a
In
volume.
square feet, they're increasing the elevator shaft as a footprint, but they're saying it's 32.57 square feet. And they're saying the volume, because that's not allowed, you cannot increase the volume. So the BZA, what I read from that is, the BZA said, yes, you can increase the footprint in a setback of 32.5 square feet, which is also 255 cubic feet.
So are they also increasing the setback? Is there a setback variance here too, but it's not written?
I can't.
Because that seems to me that ought to be spelled out too. Right, I mean, you've got coverage. Variance, but if you have a setback variance, that ought to be in feet, not square feet, right?
Yes.
Right,
And are they-
the setback,
And was that the intention of the BZA? They didn't, well, they must have, because
They were,
they're increasing the volume within the setback, right? So it's got to get to the setback.
all right, let's look at this.
But this doesn't seem to me like we've got enough information. And I think, yeah, and then
Okay, let's look at this, Bob. This will help us here.
they probably should have talked about a setback variance.
I just know.
When you look at this, if you look at what's on the screen, see the lot line where it says, where this says CH, that means it's a chord. It's not straight. So that chord is the front lot line. The building itself is 8.1 feet from the setback, from the street.
Okay, so it's.
And it's at this point, after they're done,
This is the existing,
it's 8 feet from
the lot line. All right, let's go to what they're proposed as.
closer.
So they show the front setback line right here. See where it says front setback on the left-hand side of the screen, Bob, right here? That's the 30-foot setback. And that's cut right through here. Unfortunately, I don't think it's drawn in here. Oh, yeah, it is. This is the 30-foot. So right now, it's right. The house is built almost more into the property that they don't own than property that they own.
Wait a minute, say this again.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It's in the setback. It's in the setback, not property that they don't own. My mistake. I'm having a hard time understanding that this is a renovation.
Yeah, I think we need to have, so we need two things, I think. One is we need to find out from the builder what exactly he's planning on doing. And the other thing I think we need to do is we need to find out what the BZA meant to do, because if they meant to give them a variance for volume, coverage, and setback, then we need to know what those variances are in terms of feet, square feet, and cubic feet. Because I don't see I don't see feet on here. You understand what I'm
How
saying?
much into the setback are they at the present time?
All right, if you go by up there, that sectional view,
That's 30 less 8.1. So they're 21.
And how much addition will be, I guess that's the shaft, right? That's what it's gonna cost.
Well, it's hard to, when you look at this, if you look at this where it says residence 2319, that's the existing stuff. Now, when you come here, unfortunately, they don't show where the existing is on the new section here. It appears that this shaded area would be the existing, but that is not the same as this.
Go to the shaded area, the new one. And the elevator shaft in there is going to be located where?
Right here.
Left hand. Oh,
That's the elevator.
Okay, so that doesn't look like that's going further into the setback, does it?
Right, here's the setback line, Pete, right here.
I know, but
So this is actually built in the setback.
yes, I know, but right now, at the very top of that shaded area, that's the limit of the current encroachment.
Larry? I think so, but I can't tell.
So that shaft is not going into the setback area.
okay, can I,
It's not creating more.
No, it's not.
Pete? I'm just looking at it.
So it's
Ken, will you do me a favor? Will you put your hand on the screen? Put my hand on what? The screen. Okay, And then leave it where it is, Larry. Go over to your left more. No, that's right. No, don't, leave it, don't move it, let him move. Okay. All right, now just go up, just a hair, now go over.
Which way?
To the left. Stop right there. I thought that's the shaft, Larry.
That's
Okay.
the elevator.
So it is in the 30 feet, because if you keep going over.
Right.
There's your 30 feet line. You see it coming down?
Dash line, this dash line right here,
That's 30 feet.
that is 30 feet
Right.
from the floor mod
Exactly.
side.
So that shaft is in the right of way.
Yes, no, it's not in the right of way. It's on the left, but it's in the setback.
Setback, I'm sorry.
This dash line right through here is the 30-foot setback.
Right.
And is where that elevator shaft is going, is that already part of the structure before?
No, it's new.
So they do need to give us a setback in terms of feet, not square, not cubic, but feet also.
The other thing that's new is this section, but it is well within, this is the 30-foot floor mod setback. This is the 30-foot, not open wall, what street is that? Large setback. So this is fine. They didn't need a variance for that. Okay, so I think I think we all understand where they're going. I don't understand the difference between what I see here. I see this 8-foot one right here. I see that's the end of the existing building. Right where my mouse is moving up and down. When I look at this appears to be an addition. Did they get a variance for that?
For which part?
For this part, because this part is in the setback. Sure.
Just want to remind you that if it isn't clear, that they have the burden to provide.
Okay.
There's a note up here, addition, it says in covered porch.
No, that's not. What's that?
Pointing to that, right here.
Right, that's an addition,
Yes.
and that's in the setback entirely.
Addition is over the garbage. And the driveway.
Okay.
That's all we ask.
You know, then I think we should table this and so we can figure out exactly what they're trying to do here. I'm concerned on 2 points. Number one, this addition on what I'm calling the front of the house.
Is that floor mod?
On Lormont side, right? They did not get a variance for this. They only got a variance for this. So that is in the setback. And then I have to understand better that this is not a new house. It appears to me that it is a new house.
You need a motion to table?
Since,
I don't motion.
let's see. That appears to match the that appears to match this with the driveway over here. But when I come down here, this gray area is this gray area is not there. That's the problem. All right, let's table it and we'll, do I need a motion to take something, Chris? Okay. Pete's got there's a motion before us to table this by Pete, second by Nita. All those in favor? Can I close same side?
So there you're gonna talk to the builder, see what's going on.
Yeah, I'll talk to Heidi, who's the architect, and then see this and go. So, okay, 2616 Lakeshore Drive. That is everybody remembers it as the old Kennefic house. that, they bought the 2610 property, tore it down. And we received, drawings.
2616 Lake Shore Drive is up next. Larry, I hope you don't mind around, that I'll make an announcement at the side of the table. What? 1616 Lake Shore Drive.
Oh, okay. So,
That's what you calculated we asked.
right, I did not find, unless somebody else did, coverage calculations on this.
I couldn't either.
And I think we asked for that last time, didn't
Well, this is the first time we've gotten the pool and landscape drawings. Before, they went to the BZA to try to get variance to put a second house. So they did, so now they've got a garage, and now this is what the garage and the house look like currently. So as soon as it come by, this is the old Kennefic house, for lack of a better term. This house, it was 2610, John Coleman's old. So they bought this, tore it down, and now they've built this garage here. This is what they're proposing to do. Here are the two structures, one on the left or west, one on the right, the east side of the property, and then the pool is here, and all this is hardscape. This is, I think there's lawn here, there's lawn here, I think there's some lawn here. We need coverage calculations. This appears to me to be over 35%. So we're going to ask them for coverage calculations.
Plus they need to include a fence, right?
Yes, they did. I called or Honor sent an email out to them, tell them that they had to have a fence. Okay, next,
Wait a minute.
oh,
This one by the combined benefits for tenants.
yes, that's correct.
And you do that, I guess beyond the right setbacks, because when you have people wide neither.
It'll be 16 feet. The setback on each side should be 16.
And now we're basically putting a pool between these. Right,
Right, they combined the lots so that they could put a garage, a self-standing, help me out here, somebody. Detached garage. And they got a permit for that, and now that's built, now what they're doing is they want to build a pool.
And they did get a variance for that garage. It's a little bit taller. They went to the BZA for that. And they did get a permit to do the garage, tear down the house and build a garage. But what I can't find is any other permits that we approved and any other work on that property.
So I'll ask them for coverage calculations. Anything else on 2616? Okay, moving to 2101 June Way.
2101 June Way coming up.
I think you approved it yesterday, but I have an email, and so we find this.
Okay, so that one's approved,
That was 2101,
right? 2160.
Larry approved that one.
We approved that one.
Yeah.
2302 Lake Shore Drive, we'll have to deny this, and it was over 35%. I won't speak for Carter, but Carter went and met with the, go ahead, Carter.
Sure.
We met with.
I remember the landscaper, I just explained to him that the house itself is 2,200 square feet. And if a lot is 6,000 square feet, 35% is 2,100. So just how it's relative. So I told him, unless he brought something that reduced the design,
So I'll send them a note denying this permit. Next up is the,
Okay, so I have a little bit of clarification. What could they do with this house? Could they make this house? Could they increase the volume of this house?
Should be, as long as they're within the height ordinance.
What are we talking about?
which last one?
Same address.
Okay, thank you.
Which are you talking about?
Same address. Hypothetical, same address.
No, the house is built, and so the house right now exceeds the coverage. So, yeah, they can't expand any footprint unless they get a variance.
So the problem is.
I don't know. Their drawing did not show us what their,
This is what is that would be that.
we'd have to see if they exceed, where they're at with the 33 feet.
So the problem is they're asking to put in a fire pit. That's gonna increase coverage, is that right?
Yes,
If they didn't have that, it'd be good.
right.
Okay.
Next up is the Long Beach Public Safety Building. The building is, I think, they're cleaning it this week. And both the fire department and the police department would like to put use the garage sections of the building, put the trucks in, and then move the equipment that belongs in that building back in and use those garage areas. The water itself has been turned off. The septic system has not been resolved yet. So the water's been shut off, and the sanitary, anything to do with sanitary has been shut, closed, and signs put up so that they cannot be used.
So they have a porta potty, or they're gonna?
Yes, there's a porta potty there. And it makes there.
If we were in with temporary permit, how long could we issue that?
A temporary permit, according to our ordinance, can be issued for 90 days, and it can be extended for another 90 days. So basically, the tops would be 6 months.
I make a motion to include temporary permit, 90 days.
Second.
Question,
Joe?
is it prudent to, go to the, which we call Laporte, and just mention that that's what we're gonna do? Or do we have to ask so they don't come back on us and say, you're not supposed to be in that building anyway because you don't have a sanitary system?
I don't know that it's up to Laporte to decide what our building commission does.
I could say, look, Laporte's been involved in all of this. So they were involved in the Wednesday meeting, talking about the design. They're aware of all of it.
Thanks, Joy. Any other discussion?
So they okayed, temporary occupancy?
They don't, Ken, Laporte County doesn't tell the building commission what they can do. We issue.
On the sewer in the water.
They don't, the town is asking for a temporary permit to occupy the building. Not use without the use of sanitary items, which would be any sink. The water itself to the building has been shut off to all public areas of the building, all restrooms, all sinks, any appliance that uses water, with the exception of filling the fire trucks, is shut off. There is no possibility of using any sanitary facilities in the building. So the town is asking the building commission to issue a temporary occupancy permit, which the building commission is charged with doing that. If this building commission decides to vote in favor of it, they'll have a temporary occupancy permit. If the building commission decides to vote against it, they will not have a temporary. We don't need to go to Laporte. We don't need to go to the state. We don't need to go to anybody else. It's our own decision to make. The ordinance is clear. I sent it out to everybody 2 or 3 weeks ago of what we can and can't do.
Is there a motion? I would make a motion.
Pete made a motion, Bob seconded it. Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, next up is, and I might say one other thing about the temporary occupancy permit. Normally, the building commission doesn't vote on a temporary occupancy permit or a standard occupancy permit. The reason that we brought it up to this group is because of the nature of what's happened with the septic system for this building. There was a septic permit issued before the ground was broken on this building. The building commission issued a building permit based on the Port County and the state of Indiana approving the septic hookup. After that happened, there were certain individuals involved in town government as well as some private individuals that sent false and incorrect information to the state health department. That's the whole reason we're here. And it's also the whole reason why the town is going to spend anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000 because of what those individuals did. Next up is the dumpster ordinance. Pete, you want to speak to that?
Very nice.
Yeah, go ahead, Joel.
I just wanted to make clear, I'm not against the ordinances or anything. All I'm trying to understand is within the government, how the structure is, because as a building commission, I think we could suggest ordinances, but I believe what the ordinances are approved either by the APC or the town council.
That's correct.
It's one or the other. And I'm just wondering, what's your shaking that wrong?
You are advisory in nature to either the town council or the APC. The advisory plan commission is advisory. The town council is the legislative body that will, they have the final say.
And the only thing I'm saying is that if we want to propose something, and how much depth, but that's the only question that is, how much depth do we propose? Like exactly this, exactly that, or do we approach the APC and say that, for example, a dumpster, that we want to work on the dumpster ordinance? These are some of our ideas. And we're asking the APC to throw around.
Well, it's a matter of where it is in the code. Ultimately, the only thing the APC needs to be involved with the process, if it starts there, is the zoning code. Otherwise, things can go straight to, as Pete has pointed out, the advisory plan commission can hear anything. You guys can propose. In this instance, Pete has done a lot of the heavy lifting, whether that ends up being or not. You have 2 town council members here already that can instruct or draft. So you can go as far as you want to in terms of the proposal. They'll take it or leave it, and same with the APC. But, in this instance, quite honestly, it's never going to get off the ground if you're not proposing something that's there. And Pete has done a lot, whether it does or doesn't. I don't care if it goes forward from this commission. What I'm saying is Pete has done most of it. It really just needs some of the formalities to be an ordinance. So it's up to you. That's the question. Because you could just make a suggestion.
Let me just ask that, if I'm listening correctly, then what we're saying is that we will then send this to the town council and bypass the APC?
No, it has to go to the APC.
No, it doesn't necessarily. It depends on where it is in the code. If it's in the zoning code, it has to go between the APC, and if we just have it in some of the other ordinances, and heck, I can't remember any right now, with maybe some construction signage, there's a section that is outside the zoning code. So it could have a little bit, and the benefit of doing that is, most of the things that change the zoning code is a process, right? So there are public hearings to be, there are multiple meetings and multiple bodies and publication in the newspaper This does not have to be one unless you put it in the zoning code. I do not suggest that you put it in the zoning code, because this is more in the nature of just one more permit, much like fire permits that you get for the beach, right? Those kind of things, with some penalties in place if you don't abide. So I think that we can tuck it somewhere in the code that doesn't have to go through all that process. But again, it's up to you. If you want to send it to the ABC, I'll give you another example. There was some discussion about eliminating the square footage of houses. That got suggested to the APC, and the APC considered it, didn't want to, they voted to not move forward. So there's an example where they had a topic and they decided not to do anything.
Well, that's something I'll disagree with. And that is that if something goes to the APC, they have to forward their recommendation to the council. If the council decides that they don't like that, they can send it back, they can vote on it, which we did in a couple cases. They can vote on it and basically send back to the APC and say, no, we don't believe in your thing. If it goes to the APC, they got to put it to the council.
Right, but the difference is that it's the deal, square footage that originated at the APC, so they're not obligated to send it on. Whereas if we send it to the APC, then they do have to send it on, but they do an unfavorable recommendation, correct?
Yes, and some of that procedure though is not required if it doesn't affect changing the zone.
Yeah,
So
APC.
just because the APC says, hey, we'd like you to have a dumpster ordinance, it doesn't apply the same way, and I can show you the statutory scheme. It's only more amended in zoning. That has a little more specific route. In my mind, it would be mindless to go to the APC because it has no bearing on what you're doing. If you're looking for public comment and public input, then streamline it, you know, the cost effectiveness is just go straight.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And what,
We need to get the thing straight about how the APC interacts with the council. Because they are an advisory body.
Yes.
And if the council comes up with a certain thing,
Yeah.
they have to consult the APC.
Keyword zoning.
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying. But when we talk about limiting the house, the size of something, and this is another issue, we're talking about limiting the size of something. The APC has to somehow, I don't know how it was presented, just, I don't understand, I don't think so.
So often the APC doesn't. Yeah, so it actually, there were two bites. Hold on. There were two bites at the apple. The APC discussed it and they stopped it. They didn't draft any documents, they didn't have any public hearings, there was no publication. The question, generally, I'm paraphrasing, was asked, do we want to undertake this? The vote was no. Then the council kicked it back and the second bite at it to say, hey, will you consider this? And nobody wanted to do it. So you're right that in terms of when you move forward and APC drafts this ordinance and we give it a favorable recommendation, the council must consider that or it will become automatically a change to the code. In this instance, it was just a topic of conversation.
Okay,
It never reached any level.
just for clarification, the guy, the council, they don't have to have approval by the APC. The council can vote anything at any time. But they have to send a recommendation, what their view is to the APC. APC is strictly advisory, you know. So if it starts with the APC, I don't know what the genesis is required, because if it's said, that's why it shut down. I'll propose to the APC. Then it becomes an issue and they have to answer.
No, they don't. No, it's only if they decide, so the town council can initiate it first. So the town council can say, here's our proposal, we initiate it. Yes, I'm correct. I'm with you on that. The town council, as previously constituted, did not take that step. It was a conversation piece versus here's a proposed change that we want. We've passed this, and then that started. So you and I are saying the same thing.
Okay.
The town council gets to drive the bus on that, and they can initiate it in reverse too. It just never reached that level.
so to understand correctly, there is not necessarily an mandatory opportunity
for the public to provide a comment on that before, yes. No, that's wrong.
No, because, so there's, what the town council generally does, and especially, so slightly in the previous, the new town council's tact has been, here's proposed ordinance, we put it on the website, the clerk treasurer has been sending that out to try to make sure, especially something that might be controversial, in particular, a blast email and sharing the gist of the information, emailing it to people who request, and then there are usually two readings. Can the council approve it in one meeting if they approve to do that? Yes, but they haven't shown the propensity to want to do that. So no, it won't be just something that's jammed down your throat. And I don't think that any council has done that, but does the public have to pay attention at the same time? To your point, they do, because it's something that could get passed and then they don't realize. You know, I will say one more thing, I think with the coders and that endless discussion and all, I also think that some of the timing of it has, the Congress done a good job of trying to educate it. So it's, the word has been getting out, and I know the clerk's office and the current council trying to improve ways to make sure that mass information is out there.
Thank you. What's that?
Dumpster ordinance?
Okay, basically just to summarize what I put together is just extracting it from existing ordinances and cutting it for other communities and cutting it out to fit us on Long Beach. Basically by removing anything that had to do with places of commercial property, other things other than residential areas. So what you have is just a summation of existing ordinances that all, and if anybody wants to look at anything, you can look at the American Legion of Public website and do a search on every ordinance that they support for hundreds of communities in the United States. And you just put in a simple search bar, say dumpster ordinance, and they'll come back and you're going to see. So that's basically what it is. The reason I started this was there have been two dumpster situations that just went on and on. One was in Chesterton, I think it was in Chesterton, the corner there, what's her name, the Daisies on the House.
Oh, yeah.
Florida.
That existed for over a year, just sat there and it was trash all over the place. The second one was across the street from me. I had more experience with that because that existed there for more than 8 months. It could have been longer than that. It turned out to be a dump site for this contractor, who was admittedly was bringing stuff in from other sites. And it ended up needing pickup trucks would show up with carpet and all kinds of non-construction material, just junk. That property was in existence. The total work on that property was to replace a rotten deck and a non-heating sun. That took 8 months. At least 75% of the time, there was nobody at that site. It turned out that they ended up throwing garbage around it as well. And I just got tired of it. And I don't think anybody should have to deal with that kind of stuff, especially when they could have put it in another location on the site that was less intrusive. So there are, it's very common for communities to have dump ordinances. Certainly all the big communities have, and many of the smaller ones as well. So try to make it as simple as possible. There's certainly things that can be discussed. The one thing that comes to mind for me is how long should a dumpster permit be good for? And I don't have any experience on that, but it's got to happen. It can't just sit there empty, and it can't be a repository for other people to store. The contractor put more stuff in it, stop stuff, rotten vegetation going in these things, and there was plenty of that. So And Larry informed me yesterday that almost all communities have a coverage. It's required to cover a dumpster. I didn't include that in this, but I certainly think it was a good idea. In other words, it has a cover that's pulled over it, for two reasons. One, just to keep neighbors from throwing stuff in, and two, when you drive down the road, stuff isn't flying all over the place. So that's basically it. But I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I was just gonna add on the heels of Pete's comments, and then until I looked at some of his draft comments, didn't realize how, these are pretty common. So whether you get there and make a suggestion, or the town council just decides to take it up regardless, it is one thing that Pete and I had discussed briefly on the way in, is, you know, whether you have a road bond, which might turn somebody to be cost prohibitive, versus just making sure they show proof of insurance. And as I'm sure everybody knows who's done some of this type of work or hired, you know, a lot of concrete drivers, or they can make you sign a waiver for the homeowner. And, you know, what's that matter? What's the homeowner on it? But that doesn't help the town. So, you know, some kind of mechanism, if you're inclined, some kind of mechanism to at least make sure there's insurance, if it's not a bond and the covers. But yeah, I think it's got a limit in terms of what you want to do. So, you know, we just certainly hit the main issues based on our review, and the several communities and all kinds of shapes, sizes that have it.
So, however we handle this, if there's any recommendations people want to make, I'd be glad to take those and provide an updated ordinance or potential ordinance for the next meeting. And we can vote on it. We probably anything that people want to make.
Can we just suggest maybe that people email you some changes? I mean, like, I don't know what a banister is, and so to keep it simple, I would just prefer to refer to it as a dumpster. I'm not sure that 80% capacity is when it should be removed. I mean, if you're paying, and I've used them in the past, that you would like to have it filled and then take it away. So maybe we can just email you thoughts, Pete? What about that, Larry? Any ideas?
I thought I had sent out a revised ordinance. I'm surprised if I didn't.
But yeah, you sent that out a couple of weeks ago.
But in it, I basically said that, when the dumpster's 80% full, it needs to be removed. And that seems to be standard, in the, ordinance that I have.
If it's fine to turn that volume like that.
Somebody, we're just trying to get the idea that it's not overflow.
It's got,
Well, most, actually, so we can keep moving here. Ken, you had a lot of comments, or you wanted to talk about this too, so you want to go ahead?
Yeah, everybody, the one thing that I saw that kind of stuck out with me is the prohibiting of the dumpsters in the setback from the public property towards the house, the setback. We got what, 30-foot setback? So take properties like Lakeshore Drive, and other properties in our town that do not have much access, any access at all, to the rear and sides. That would effectively prohibit them from using the dumpsters. And how would those people have a dumpster? What should they do effectively works?
That's a good,
People from having a dumpster.
that's a good point. How far should we put it in? It certainly shouldn't be on public property.
Well, I know that would be things like anything to protect the town, the public from the dumpsters on the street is a bad idea. That's a safety issue with traffic and so forth. Covering, that's legitimate. I think like prohibiting in the setback would definitely cause them with the property owners and contractors, because that's the only access that, they have in a, construction or remodeling project. So I think that should be deleted or addressed. I don't think that's a good, thing to put in there.
Well, we can make that anything that's practicable, and we always have the option of, if there's a unique situation, granting an exception. You know, if they can't move it far enough back, okay, well, but there are many places, for example, the one across the street from me and the one that was on Chesterton, they both had a driveway they couldn't. And here it was, they were hanging out on the street, so there was a situation, I just think we need something specific. If we want on an individual basis, they come to us and say, well, gee, I got it. We help them with that. But my experience in this town is if you don't say something specifically, just kiss it off. Because it'll never be done properly. It'll always be. So I say, if we say 15 feet from the public property line, 10 feet, I don't think they fix it.
Can I interject something as we're talking? Yeah, Ken, just so,
At the floor. You know, if you want to go with 5 feet, that's reasonable. Take some of the, other people on next to the driveway, really don't even have that, so it's just something to consider when we have the number of our footage, requirement there. Well, do you think a bond is absolutely necessary?
Yeah,
If you want, okay,
yeah,
I
because
think that's unreasonable.
the dumpster that was loaded by my house damaged the street. And that guy's gone, and he's gonna say, so we need to have an inspection of it, when it goes in, an inspection of the leaves. And
I think your point had something smart about 30 days you have 13.
I'm tired.
I think the people should be entitled to have that dumpster as long as they have a building.
Okay, so, and here's the requirements for the dumpster. I mean, I'm not denying
Do it
it.
every 30 days. If they have to do it every 30 days, to kind of explain that situation in my neighborhood that it was said, how the, cycling of the dumpster goes the way, construction project, and I thought it was, objective and what really happened, so tell the guys, you gotta get that out of here in 30 days, or face $150 pay fine, and they've got a couple of cinder blocks in there. It's not even 50 bucks.
I get what you're saying.
I think he's saying it should be empty, but it should be empty, not because of some arbitrary time. So he's saying in 60 days, you might have 2 cinder blocks, but under the new ordinance in 3, you might have to be required to dump it sooner.
Yeah, I agree. Why should it be sitting there when we leave? I mean, that's one of the problems with the whole thing. It's an eyesore. It's just inviting problems in some cases. It's not safe. Moving on the street goes, our streets, other than Lakeshore Drive, are 40 feet wide. On Lakeshore Drive, it's 50 feet. And Lakeshore Drive, there have been dumpsters placed, on problems. Street. Fortunately, Lakeshore Drive is wide enough to accommodate one. And I'd say that would be an exception, that we would say, hey, got another place to put this, all right, let's do it, but put some cones around, put some safety things around.
Well, safety for walkers needs to be considered too. If there's no space, walkers gonna get smushed between the car and the dumpster.
Right.
How about 60 days? And after 60 days, if you wanna leave it there, you have to reapply. And then the building commission could say, hey, we think they're abusing it. No, we need to take it out. Wouldn't that be
How about everybody do us, and Nita suggested it, send Pete their comments, and then he could propose a draft, and you guys vote on it, send it to the council.
Yeah, I think that's probably a prudent thing to do.
Yeah, you guys are gonna kick around those, what,
I think to Bob's point there that, instead of 60, we're picking an arbitrary number, and exactly what I said earlier, I think that, the duration of that construction project, when that permit, the construction project, is over, then we have a legitimate argument for them to move. There's no reason for that to be. There's anywhere in the middle, they're still using the yard, and they're not, we have to force them to move.
Okay, what I will do is, people send me comments that say for that particular topic. Somebody says it should be 60, some say it should be 90, some should be duration of permit. I'll list all of those different options that people send me. When we come back here, we'll vote on which option.
Great.
Thank you, Pete.
I think that's a great idea. Anything else, Ken?
No,
Joe?
No, I was just wondering, well, Pete had the suggestion, so I could do it that way, but like, for example, the value, like you're saying, the value of the permit, you know, if a guy's spending $1 million to redo the house, I guess he probably needs a lot longer than the guy that's just putting in some windows. And maybe you gotta do it based on, you know, the permit, like you mentioned. And then the second thing would be possibly, is it based on location? Like if you're on Lakeshore Drive, is it easy enough to put a dumpster or not? Or does it get too confusing if you have too many ifs? If you do A or B and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, as Anita suggested, that everybody take a look at this, read through it, and then just give an outline form, whatever suggestions you have, send them to Pete. And then Pete, and thank you, Pete, for doing this. We'll compile all those and then send them back out.
Okay, when I get home tonight, I will send out a clean version.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Great. One thing to keep in mind with dumpsters, there's, in any community, there's two separate things. Dumpsters are, I should say, two separate things. There's dumpsters or rubbish containers or whatever that are the purposes for construction purposes, because a job is going in, and that's an ongoing thing. If it's an 8-month or an 18-month or a 2-month job, a dumpster is normally going to be associated with that time frame while that job is being done. And then you have on the other side of that, you have somebody who is moving, somebody who's cleaning out the basement or whatever. And that most likely would be subject to it wouldn't be part of a building permit. It would just be somebody, and then they would have to abide by whatever terms everybody decides to put in it. Okay, the next thing,
Right, just one thing, Larry, just a favor, if you would, for an alternate like me, maybe put in today's date on the new one, so I know it's the new one, and it's not the same as the other ones. Just something.
I'll send it in the email. I'll send
Yeah,
it.
I mean, but the only thing I'm saying is after I print it, I won't know what email it came on, but I'll know the date that it's created.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the new one.
Thank you, with the date.
Or you can add.
So,
I usually put a version.
Yeah, exactly, something like that will be wonderful.
that would be one, okay. All right, next up, is the designations for, I don't know if it's designations, definitions or whatever, for not only grandfather, what does grandfathering mean, as well as what does a single family residence or a dwelling mean? And the reason we started to talk about this was it comes up. We've had several instances here at building commission meetings where there's been discussion as what is a dwelling? We just had a recent one that they pulled their permit, but this comes up all the time outside of this meeting to either Carter, myself, any of you members of the commission probably get calls on the same thing. So I think it was important. We've had people say, well, in Wisconsin, they say you have to be able to cook. Carter mentioned yesterday that in Michigan, what was it?
It has to have a stove.
It has to have a stove to be considered a dwelling. So, we, historically, we use what is in the town of Long Beach ordinance. And we want to make sure that that is good enough, or that we're covering all the bases. The state does not, I sent all those out to everybody. The state does not have any further, better definition outside of, and Joy said it best. It said and sanitation rather than or sanitation. And that was, Joy, correct me if I'm wrong. Plumbing, sanitary stuff, sanitation, cooking, sleeping arrangements. So we just want to make sure that we don't have a problem if somebody wants to put bedrooms over their garage, which is detached, or as we all know, permits come in here and you could see what's going on. We just want to make sure that's not being said. And we just want to make sure that we have those definitions done properly.
Okay, so similar to the one we just talked about. If you will make comments to this grandfather stuff that I put out, I will consolidate those comments and then issue something that we can give to Chris to look at. Excuse me, I
have a question, because I would see, what, is there a proposed definition of grandfathering?
Yeah.
Because I want, as we're thinking about this, that we have to be, maybe we're, have to be mindful of the non-conforming uses and structures.
Yeah. Now, just, like, for example, the home on Fulton, we had much discussion about grandfathering this. So there's always been a thing in my life, and I've looked at this before, and I think we ran into it with Marie, the Joy, in your subdivision. The subdivision plat has different setbacks than the town requires.
Yes.
And that's a similar thing with the Gardens subdivision, which that whole property belongs to. So I went to the recorder's office and the surveyor's office, got a plat of the original plat of the subdivision, which was done in 1920. That house was built in 1930. Plat allowed different types of setbacks, and I don't go into details, but in effect, when they plat, it's platted and has specific requirements on it. That's what they are. That's like recording something on the deed. That's the covenant of the subdivision when it's made, when it's important. So we need, I'd like you to resolve that issue. Does the plat override anything subsequent that comes on? I don't know the answer, but I can tell you that the Garden subdivision has a different set of covenants than and they're very few, but they are different than what we have in the ordinances. So that's something we have to figure out. But those are the kinds of things that occur. And basically what this grandfathering thing that I have here basically says, for something to be grandfathered, it must originally have been built legally. It had to be legal when it was done, not just because it exists now and it's been there for a long time, it's done all this. It has to have been built legally when it was done. And then if you make certain changes to it, or it's halfway demolished, 50%, then in fact, it's no longer grandfathered. And once again, this stuff was all extracted from existing ordinances for other communities and tried to look for what was most common. So the one I will send out, the one I sent you basically is a summation. Once again, you can look at the American Legal Publishing site, do a search on grandfathering, and you'll have to wade through a lot of stuff, but that's basically what's been extracted. If you can find additional things that you want to add and subtract, let me know. But this is the zoning issue. This definitely is a definition in the zoning portion, so it has to go through, it can either go directly to the council, but they will still have to
consult the APC, however we want to do it. Assuming, of course, we want to establish a grandfather commission. But as you can see, there's a lot of things in there. It's not intended in any way to require somebody to tear something down or change it. It just says if it's grandfathered, the way it was originally built. If you made additions afterwards, that's not grandfathered. If you put in a garage later, that's not grandfathered. Only the original structure had to be approved, and the proof for that is there it is. It's either a valid permit was issued, it was platted properly, zoned, defined properly, and all before the certain date. So take a look at that. Send me some comments, update that, and you can talk about the local things next time, some future day.
Thanks, Pete. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a question there. Isn't it the responsibility of the town council to adopt this like this and to get it down to us?
The building commission has the responsibility, and I'll say this clearly, the responsibility to make recommendations to the agency and the council. That's our responsibility. If we come up with an idea, we give it to them. If they come up with an idea, they can stuff it under the scopes. I mean, we don't have any legislative authority, but we have the responsibility to make recommendations. Similarly to the BZA, we can make recommendations as to what they should be looking at, but they're limited. So,
And to just going back to some of the points we were making earlier, this is a little more involved process. So if this comes about and you can make a recommendation one way or the other, the APC is involved, there's public hearings, publication in the newspaper, so there's a big undertaking to do that, and sure, everybody's open to.
the public,
Please understand, this is relatively new to me.
No, that's why.
The way I says it,
the public,
people don't agree with this.
the public could make recommendations to the council. They could drop them and they could come to us and say, hey, I think your grandfather thinks there's a good one. We would consider it. And if they say no.
Thanks, Pete. So the end for these three things, the dumpster ordinance, the grandfathering, and the dwelling, if everybody would read through what Pete sent out and make comments and send them back to Pete by email so that we can get everybody's input and move forward with this. This came up, this last item on here came up, and I'm gonna put it up on screen. Because it's come up twice in the last month. Chris, when I show you this, maybe it's something that you just need to explain to me. It doesn't have to be done here, but I figured we've got enough people here that can help me out with this. There are, I can't even tell you how many lots there are that are, have significant right-of-ways in front of their property. And I've been asked, can they do anything with those? Will the town sell them? And my stock answer is, no, it's not your property. So, I'm sorry, I'm not sharing.
What are they asking?
Yeah, so the street wide. The road.
Well, yeah, and this one that came up is pretty substantial. So, we're down at Joy's neck of the woods. So this is, well, let me back out. Lakeshore Drive, Ridgemore comes up this way, Rosamond comes around. There's a piece of property right here that is up for sale, and I've had 6 calls on it. This large section, that's right of way, isn't it? See that, Chris? I'm looking at this section right here, Bob. You're right,
I mean, it's a very large section in the same thing here. And I told him, somebody's gonna have to research the deed to find out the ownership here.
Did you do that?
But to me, this is, it's not,
Some beacon and all of a sudden, right?
I don't know what it is. I think you closed the meeting.
Thanks, Chris.
I can talk to you guys after, I guess. It's not something that needs a decision. It's a very, all right, let me see if I can share it. Go down to your Zoom, button at the bottom, Hunter. Right there, hit that, there you go. It's this piece of property, so you can see the circle here, Ridgemore, Rosemont.
Well, the general rule is, and I've discussed this for a long time, learning, because he had all the history of it. The town a little bit unique in terms of owning. People own as much as not used. So the quick answer is if it's paid and it's being used. Tear some of that out, sure, but in general,
Okay.
Obviously we need to look a little bit more to see if anybody owns that. It's not.
I told everybody that that's asked, you need to have a survey, so a surveyor tells you who owns that property.
Yeah,
Because this is-
road too, right? That's very wide.
Right.
Some arguments there that people believe that they own
Yeah.
person, that road shouldn't be so wide.
Right.
Owning property is both less than that occurs. When we went to put in the seawalls at 21 and 23, I went to the county and said, well, this is, because the road goes down to the lake, that's kind of important. And once for Long Beach, we have no responsibility. I said, well, what did you do in doing the beach? They said, the county owns the beach. So that whole seawall was paid for by the county. Right, that makes it work. So it won't come cheap.
I'll just continue on with, you need to look at a survey. We don't have any say over that anymore, right?
Right, the town, it's right away as far as we're concerned, and I can't imagine that, what is it? We're planning to go get a survey of all of those things, and if it's paid, and the town uses as much right. And in fact, in this town, it could be that you own that roadway too, which is different.
Okay, and this is in the same vein as what I mentioned before, and this has come up 3 times since our last meeting. One was just an issue with trees in the, I find the exact right. So in particular, the individual the property owner that owns this house. No. Can you see the 2 that are red? These are owned by the same individual, but this, the platted right of way that's through here, he's asking if he can build a deck to that right of way.
The towns, right, they're in the towns. Right?
Right, he can't build on the right of way,
Right.
but how are we gonna, so because he owns both of these, and there's actually a driveway, if you could see this driveway comes up, and this is how he gets into the backside of his house. So you can see the tracks. So he's saying can I build on here? And I said, no, you can't build on this right of way. And then he said, so this would normally be a 20-foot rear setback because he's a Juneway. He walks into his house from Juneway. And he wants to know, can he build a deck to that line? To that right of way setback? No. So he, even though this is a plat, whatever, that's his background. Okay.
Yeah. Which in recent vintage has not been the kind of the houses.
And one of the reasons we never addressed it is that if the town has to put sewers in.
Right.
Those vacated so-called empty spaces are the key way to get somewhere,
Right.
make a lot of connections.
I mean, that's been told to me since I was a kid.
You can go to the council when it's there in the area, right, but that hasn't
Okay.
generally been approved.
All right. That was it. Any, council comments or council commission comments? No. Any public comment? There's nobody here. There's nobody else. Yeah. We'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
By Bob, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.